And
Okay.
here we are live again. Hello, this is Christina God. I am today joined by Fleur, which is amazing. And we love indie authors. We are indie authors ourselves. And today we're going to talk about Substack for authors, how we as indies can be seen, like the biggest pain points we have on the platform. And if you're asking us about an agenda or a script or so, Fleur and I, we don't have a script because it's all here in our brain. So we're gonna go from brain here to the Substack Live. As always, you can ask questions in the chat. And of course, we also drop some links and so on if you're gonna need them. So Fleur, welcome to today's session.
Thank you, Christina. Great to be here again with you talking about indie authors on Substack, my favorite subject.
Yeah, and right, like 5 minutes back, we were already talking about the pain points. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about like all these pain points we feel we have as indies.
Sure. I think I've been thinking a lot about the messages that I get from indie authors as I run the Substack Bookstore. And in top of the list, I guess, is the imposter syndrome when you're writing. Particularly if you decide from the beginning that you're going to be an indie author, and that idea that some people have in their heads that you're not a real author unless you're published with one of the big 5 publishers. So I think getting over that imposter syndrome to help write your book is something that I really try and help authors with. And I know you do that as well, Christina, in the Online Writing Club. I think one of the other concerns that indie authors have, all authors, but particularly indie authors who have to take care of their own marketing, is finding ways to market their books without feeling too salesy. They feel like marketing is ick and that it's somehow not. It doesn't feel good to try and sell your books, and that's where I think Substack comes in as a great opportunity for authors, because you build your own audience that you own by getting email addresses as subscribers, and you're able to offer sneak peeks into your book, show them how you're building the world if you're writing fiction, or talk to them about the problems that you can help them with if you're writing nonfiction or self-help, or how your life story can help others learn if you're writing memoir. That's the beauty of Substack, is that it provides a platform for you to do a lot of the work before you launch the book, so that everyone knows about your book, knows more about what's inside the book, so that when it launches, you're not just saying, hey, buy my book. It's a case of, here it is. Here, you've been hearing about this for months now, and it's now out in the world, and you've got an audience of supporters and loyal readers who are ready to buy and read your book and hopefully leave a review as well. So there are a couple of the big ones. On the subject of reviews, I get authors messaging me all the time about how to increase the number of reviews that they get. And for those of you who follow me on Substack, you know that I'm often posting notes about either how to get more reviews, or for everyone who reads my notes to encourage them to go and leave reviews on authors' books, especially indie authors, because it helps with the algorithm on Amazon or on other platforms when you leave a review, or at least a rating, and it shows social proof to other potential readers that you've got a large number of people who have already read your book and been kind enough to leave a review. So I'm big on reviews and getting people to leave feedback about the book after they've read it. So there's some of the 3 top pain points that authors face, and that you and I, Christina, in our work on Substack and in the bootcamp that we've got coming up, are going to help authors with in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and also when we're like taking a deeper look at what the What the publishers say, even like the bigger publishers, they say get on Substack, which is super important for them. So if you want to sell or keep selling your book, if it's in the pre-launch runway, they say you definitely have to be on Substack. This is why we also put it here, like right here on the landing page from the Substack for Authors, where we said, even publishers are now saying get on Substack. And then there's also what Substack's team is saying, and they are saying nothing sells books like a great Substack. And of course, we can dig a bit deeper into this with Substack, the Substack Bookstore with Fleur, but I wanted to show you a site, a landing page from Substack you might not know yet. And this is a dedicated space for all the authors and publishers on Substack, which I can show you in a sec when it's loading. And on this specific landing page, they said exactly this: nothing sells books like a great Substack. And they have some amazing examples from the Substack community. Of course, not all of them are up to date. Fleur and I, over the next couple of 4 days before the bootcamp or the summer camp is going to start, we're going to share some like real examples, latest examples, and we're also going to update some of them. For instance, I'm going to show you them. So this is the site if you're an author and publisher, which you could somehow find if you're Googling for Substack for authors, Substack for publishers. It's on substack.com/book. This is where you can find it. And I love that their like claim is really that Substack is the place where you can sell your book. And it even says nothing sells books like a great Substack. So it says like this can be like the number one platform for you. You might have heard this already from TikTok. I once interviewed Brianne Randall. She's a great example. She's an indie author. She was also always publishing independently. And then she got a publisher. I think this publisher said, I don't know, I don't want to lie, but they said just like a few $1,000 she's going to get. There won't be any marketing. And Brie, she said then, oh, I have no clue what to do with this budget. For some, of course, for $4,000 or $2,000 or whatever, she would then pick from this amount of money she would earn. Whatever you would say, even $1,000 is great for marketing. However, again, it's just like a super, super small percentage. What did she do? She knew, of course, about like the power of social media. And so she, for instance, she went on TikTok and she really started from nothing, zero. And through her TikTok, she made her book, which was all about her grandma that died. And of course, the magic in do I have it here? No, I think it's in the bathroom because when I'm lying in the bathtub, I'm reading all these books that authors are sending me. So it's all about like the magic things in life and the glimmers, and her, of course, how her grandma inspired her. And she got a New York Times bestseller through her TikTok. So TikTok, for instance, is a channel. YouTube is a channel. LinkedIn is a channel for for many, many indie authors now who are using this. Of course, on Medium, you can promote it. But I also think Substack is great because we know already, if you've been following me for a while, that Substack is really the place where people actually spend the time and actually read. On average, it's 10 minutes on this platform, which is more than on any other platform. So, for instance, LinkedIn is the fastest growing platform, but Substack, for instance, this is really the place where people really spend some time reading. And I guess this is why Substack also says, this is the number one place. If you're then going through this page, you're going to see that Substack sell books at every stage from pre-order to backlist. So it really depends where you are. So many who now already joined Substack for Authors, they told us, hey, I have this book in mind, or I'm in the middle of like creating or making this book baby, bringing this book baby alive. But I would so much love to give it a name and, give it some clothes and really like, presenting this to the grandparents and the family and so that the world knows about my book. So similar to Substack, you can do whatever you want. You can, for instance, start writing on the platform. We have, for instance, some romance writers. We have some fiction, other fiction writers. We have some crime authors who are doing exactly this. So they, for instance, they are putting their posts behind the paywall. And then after a while, this whole thing is going to become a book, or they're publishing everything for free on the platform, serializing this, and then later to then read, for instance, the end of this crime novel book. You have then to buy the book as an example, which I really, really love. And here are then some examples. For instance, Maggie Smith here, you could make this place beautiful. She was the one here who used Substack for this. Virginia Soul Smith, this might be something for you. Fat Talk, Parenting in the Age of Diet Culture, which I love. Melinda Moya, she was really someone that I subscribed to like already 3 years back. How to raise kids who aren't. She also had a Substack that was called exactly this. Now she has changed the name of the Substack. However, she really, really used the platform, and she said, and this was already like, let's say a year ago or so, it sold just under 25,000 copies. So her newsletter was already like the exact name as the book. And through this, she could like go in the launch phase and in the, let's say, post launch phase and keep selling her book. When you're hearing this, Fleur, what are you thinking about all these amazing books? Do you know one of these books? Other this
I
one here from Melinda,
do.
I
I
know.
do. Yes, I've seen them all. I've read that page and I've seen them all. I have read the third one. With the word
The
we're
dinosaur.
not saying out loud. And it's something actually that I've said to my kids' teachers that's my goal as a parent. Yeah, that one really resonated with me. But I have seen this page and the great results that some big authors have had with creating Substack publications and using them to promote and sell their books. So it's a great example for everyone, and especially for the indie authors who are part of Substack generally, but those also who are with us in the Substack Bookstore promoting their book or books. And we've had some amazing results in terms of obviously lots of Amazon category bestsellers in the year that the bookstore's been running. And we've had authors who put their books, Jo Taylor put one of her books in the bookstore in August last year, and by December she had 15 times the number of sales or read-throughs of her books. And she did no other promotion except the Substack bookstore. So, it's certainly a great place to be. And as you said, you can use it in a number of ways as an author. You can test material. You can serialize your book. And most, importantly, I think you can build your email list so that you've got people to communicate with. You don't lose your audience suddenly if there's a glitch or something on many other social media sites and you get banned or something happens to your account. You keep your email list and that becomes yours as an author to promote your work to. So that's the thing that I love about Substack, and it's the reason that every author that comes to me to work with me, if they don't come through Substack, that's the first thing I tell them to do, to get on Substack and to learn about how it works, and particularly how it works for authors, and use it to its best functionality to enable them to build their platform, whether that's for as an indie publisher or, like you said, Christina, to get the social proof and credibility to pitch their book to a big publisher. It's a great way to sell books.
Yeah. And before we're going to dig a bit deeper into the Substack model, I just wanted to answer here some questions or responses. So, for instance, we have someone here who's joining the Substack for Authors Bootcamp, Stephanie. We chatted yesterday. Then we have here someone's Andrew is sharing like the oracles of Substack. Yeah, I don't know whether we are the oracles, but this is nice. And then Tabitha is now also joining the community. She loves meeting other indie authors. So if you want to, you can also share your book and or your Substack here in the chat to connect with others. Last time we had a live where we also connected through LinkedIn. So this is always nice, getting like a little boost, even if it's just like 5 followers or 10 followers. It's always nice to then connect with other indies. Andrew is asking the question, in the context of academia, do you think industry experts should be on Substack more often, promoting their scholarly work and insights? Fleur.
Yes, I worked in universities for 15 years as a manager, not as an academic, but I obviously had a lot to do with academic staff members. And there was a maxim, I guess, or a saying in Australian universities at least, but I think it's worldwide, publish or perish. And Substack is just another way to get your work out there. I think you need to be aware of the audience and who you're talking to, and that it's not necessarily a fully academically inclined audience. But if there's a way for you to present your research and scholarly work in a way that makes it accessible, absolutely. People love seeing material on Substack that is backed up by empirical and peer-reviewed research. It makes your work more credible, and yes, could absolutely form the basis of you writing a book based on your scholarly work.
Yeah, what I did here, I put on the screen Dr. Sam Illingworth. Fleur can tell us a bit more about him, because I think this works pretty with this example. Maybe I can go back and show you the beginning of this video. Yeah, but on the page you can see lots of now you can see it. He's holding his book then into the camera. So you can check out his testimonial together with really hundreds of testimonials on our platform of people we helped. And for instance, Dr. Sam Illingworth, he published Slow AI, which is also the name of his Substack newsletter. And Fleur, she helped him get to the point where he also became an Amazon bestseller. So Fleur, maybe you can tell us a bit more about this.
Sure, yeah. So Sam, took some of my advice on board in terms of getting his book in the right categories on Amazon, and he is still, I believe, number one in at least one of his categories, more than, I think, nearly 3 weeks after publication of his book, and he beat out a book that has been at the top of the AI category for years, which is called the AI Millionaire or the Chat GPT Millionaire. I can't remember. It's one of those. And this book has sold thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of copies. And he's still beating that book in terms of the number of sales that his book is getting on a daily basis. So Dr. Illingworth, Sam, he's been an absolute superstar in terms of his results. And a lot of that, as he said in his testimonial and in the things he wrote on our Substack comments, that the Substack Bookstore and the advice that we give through the bookstore has been an integral part of him achieving what he did with his book so far. So we're really thrilled for him. And as I said, I think he's number 12 or 13 of the Amazon category bestsellers who've come out of the bookstore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he is an actual professor. You can see it in a second. He's an actual professor you can see it here on his LinkedIn page. Yeah, now you can see it. Okay. So this is Sam here. He's also pretty prolific on LinkedIn. So I always recommend starting the Substack LinkedIn flywheel. Of course, I could also be more prolific, let's call it like this, or be more on the platform. But at least I can say I'm spending, let's say, 5 minutes there. Recently, a few days back, I had a conversation with Ali. Ali is a marketing manager at LinkedIn, and she earning whatever, like $200,000 or so per year. However, she's now building her own brand, her own business on Substack. I'm helping her there, of course, as well with my advice and stuff. And she also said her biggest recommendation is to be on LinkedIn at least 10 minutes. And these 10 minutes are going to change your life. So what Sam is, for instance, doing, he's building the Substack LinkedIn flywheel. And this is, for instance, he's posting something on LinkedIn, also repurposing stuff or tweaking this a bit so that it fits to the LinkedIn feed, let's call it like this. And then he is linking back to a Substack newsletter. And through this, I think one day or so, he shared a screenshot with 160 subscribers on one day, where one of his stories, through LinkedIn, went somehow viral. Lots of people shared this, and then lots of subscribers he got. So he is an actual professor of critical AI literacy. And he did exactly what was asked in the comments, that he said, you know what, I have already, Andrew, I have already this background. And now I want to somehow, also teach everyone what I know. Here you can see his book, Slow AI. So you can see this by the comments and by the likes, more than 600 comments, more than 150 or about 150 likes. And he's sharing interesting stuff. For instance, he also because of the Pangram collaboration we have now, we have an AI detector now on Substack. And we were talking about this 2 days back or so. And he also said he took his thesis from a few years back to become a professor or a doctor and put it into Pangram. And Pangram said it would be not human written, it would be AI written, you know? So I think this is the best example of that. Pangram, of course, is also just like AI who wants to spot AI. So maybe this is another topic for another day, but this was like the conversation, and it was wonderful really talking with someone who's an actual expert when it comes to AI, critical AI literacy, critical AI ethics and stuff. And he did exactly this. You know, he took his knowledge from his corporate job, from his university job, and then put it into practice on Substack. And he's rising on Substack. And in addition, he took all his knowledge from Slow AI, put it also in the title of his book, and then shared this on Substack, which I think is an amazing example, right? Now we can go into
I sent
the
him a
question.
connection request on LinkedIn. So I hadn't done that yet. Yes. So if anyone wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, I think as Christina said, yeah, send us connect requests, because it's always great to connect with other stackers on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and Patricia is having my eyebrows jumped ship. Humorous essays on aging. This is her book. Good to have a laugh. Tabitha is alert. The Oracle comes out next year for her. Her debut poetry collection, and many more. Tabitha is sharing that Substack has been a great platform. Yeah, so it definitely is, and this is why the reason more and more authors are now also on the platform. I'm also always it's somehow mind-blowing how many authors are also on LinkedIn. So lots and lots of people having their corporate jobs and are also authors of a book. And this is gonna happen with me as well. So maybe today or tomorrow, when I have the time, I'm gonna share a post about my own book deal, which is of course amazing. And this just happened because of Substack. So it's thanks. So it started really with Medium being on the platform when my baby was half a year old, and this was now like 5.5 years back. Benjamin is now 6 years old, and then 3 years back I started on Substack, and again I'm a bestseller similar to Fleur, and now I'm helping others, and we're both like helping indie authors on the platform. So this is pretty cool that you can get this book deal, and I am proof. And Fleur, maybe you can also share a bit more with us, because you also are the mom of an indie baby, because like a few years back you also published your own book. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about the struggles, and then we're gonna go, and also of course the wins, and then we can go a bit deeper into the Substack model and why it's so perfect for indie authors and published authors.
Sure. My book was written during COVID. I lost my job in marketing in March 2020. And a very good friend of mine that I'd worked with at a university in Australia, in Sydney, lost her job the same day. And we decided to start a podcast, and we called it Career After COVID. And we ran the podcast weekly that whole year and built up an audience, and people were asking about a book. So we decided to write a book, and we got it to Amazon bestseller in 3 categories. It was outselling Simon Sinek in career development within days of its launch. That was, a really eye-opening experience for me, and really has become the basis for my own work helping other authors in the indie space. Everything that I learned creating that book and writing it and publishing it and marketing it has formed the basis of, and now I've worked with over 300 authors over the past 6 years to help them in various ways to either write, edit, launch, promote, sell their books.
Yeah, this is fantastic, I think. And when you're talking about Simon Sinek, and that you somehow outperformed Simon Sinek, let me see whether I can share it. But Simon Sinek is now also on Substack, which is amazing. And he even shared
Yes.
his first video. You might have seen this already. Here's Simon Sinek. Like, let's say it's super minimalist at the moment still. It turns out I have lots of thoughts and ideas that go beyond business or leadership. This is the place I use to share those thoughts and ideas and other personal musings. If you're curious and creative, please join me. So, and then he shared, for instance, his first, I have to stop this, but his first video here, my new space for new ideas, which is of course incredible. And so, yeah, you can now also find Simon Sinek. And somehow you as an indie author or published author or soon to be published author, you can also be seen next to Simon Sinek as an example. Another great idea, I always love Fleur, maybe you have heard about this already. Many people said it would be so lovely, and this is, I guess, now super easy for the Substack platform to do this. It's just a strategic decision. And they said it would be so lovely if people are really like spending so much time on the platform and they, for instance, connect with me, they follow and then subscribe. If they could also see and the books that I've written or the indie books or the published books. So this would be also something maybe coming in the future that on the platform, this is why I say this with Simon Sinek. So for instance, that would be the book from Simon Sinek next to your book because you're maybe writing in the same category, you know? Because Substack always says we're going to be a platform without any ads. And so the ad, of course, is you somehow because people subscribe to you. But like the next level this up would be that you would also see the book and people could get the book. So somehow Substack could become one huge bookstore. But of course, before that, we all have to subscribe to Fleur because she has the Substack bookstore for all the indies and also the published authors who want to keep selling their books. And for this, we want to dig a bit deeper.
That's a great prediction, Christina. I think that's a really great prediction because when I started the Substack bookstore, of course, what was the URL that I aimed to get? It was bookstore.substack.com. And it wasn't available and no one else was using it. So I have a theory that Substack has set it aside and that maybe somewhere down the line it might become part of their offering. So in the meantime, we've got the Substack bookstore, which is buybooks.substack.com. That was the name I had to give.
And Andrew is sharing here, I want to create a space where academics and professionals, including lawyers, consultants, clubs, federations, and player unions can raise awareness of the growing field of international sports law. That is why I established the football regulatory database here on Substack. Do you believe the next step should eventually be the development of a textbook independent platform? I would be interested to hear from you. I would say definitely, Andrew. I don't know whether you are already inside the Substack for authors, but we're going to cover all of this. So we're going to show you exactly how to do this, how to set up this this amazing space here on Substack, how to create everything. So I think for Andrew, this would be perfect. And I would definitely do this. If it would be like a textbook or whatever, I would definitely do this because this is the best. You can start on Substack writing and then later put it in or transform this into a book. And I also love the idea of this football regulatory database because similar to directories. People love if there is like a list of people to connect with, you know. So having such a database is pretty nice. Andrew, Fleur, what do you think about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in many ways, the Substack bookstore is a database style Substack. So it lists books and authors who are indie or small press authors. So that's, a model that we've used for the Substack bookstore. So absolutely, the football regulatory database, I think, says what it is. As Christina will tell you, and we'll be talking about in the boot camp next week or the summer camp, positioning and naming your Substack something that appeals to people is a really important part of what you do on Substack, and writing your bio and your short description for your publication, all those things, making sure that they're attracting the right audience to your Substack. And as I put in a note this week, does the first couple of sentences of your book make people want to buy it? And does the short description that you've written of your Substack make people want to give you their email address? You've really got to ask yourself that question, and that's the basis of attracting subscribers to your Substack. So that's, a really important thing for all authors to consider when they're writing and filling in all those little bits of detail when you're setting up your Substack, which is something that Christina is expert at, and we will cover in the bootcamp.
Yeah. And here's, for instance, Sarah sharing that she joined our bootcamp, really excited to be inside the bootcamp
Yeah,
with you
Sarah.
both, which is amazing. And so I also put the link, substackauthor.com, in the chat, and you can use the code celebration. And why do we use the code celebration, Fleur? Maybe you can share a bit more about your newsletter,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, for those of you who didn't join us last week, we celebrated on the 21st of July, the first birthday of the Substack Bookstore. So Christina came live with me, and we had balloons and even a cake. I got a cake made to celebrate the first birthday of the Substack Bookstore. We've now got over 3,500 subscribers, over 300 authors, 24,000 followers, and people who love books, authors and readers alike. So it's a great place to showcase your book and get all of the perks associated with being in the bookstore. So that was the celebration discount code for the bootcamp, based on the first birthday of the Substack Bookstore. So thanks to all those who have joined since or during that live that we did last week, and since we celebrated the first birthday.
Yeah. And now let's go a bit deeper into the Substack model so you better understand this, and we can connect all the dots through this live session so you better understand the platform. And what's also pretty, here with the eyebrows jump chip. Stephanie is sharing she really loves the title. So I think the title for a book is very, very important, of course. Sometimes you just get a book deal because of the title of the book. So there's also, do I have it here? Yeah, maybe you've heard about this. And he's gonna go live with me soon. Maybe this guy here. With Stupider People Have Done It. There's even a song about this. There's the book, Stupider People Have Done It. I'm in Germany. I don't have the book, the hardcover book. I just have the Kindle book. I've read this already. This is from a marketing guru. He has his own agency. His name is Jay Schwadelson, and he's also a marketing and newsletter, an email guru, let's call it like this. He has his own podcast. The podcast is number one in marketing. And since I am in marketing, now I'm also brand manager, but a marketing and brand manager in real life, and just like this part-time writer and author, on Substack and with my book. He is sharing this podcast every week, and Stupider People Have Done It. This is, for instance, his merch, his promo for his book, which is called exactly this. And with this, he could raise for I think it's called the V Foundation. The V Foundation, which wants to kick cancer in the butt. He could raise $130,000. So what he did was he was pre-launching the book. So I could, for instance, buy the book. Then I joined his LinkedIn ambassador group, let's call like this, to support it. And all the money really went into the V Foundation to kick cancer in the butt. This was the idea. And through this, I think he even became what's it called? In America, it's New York Times bestseller, Fleur, and before that, you become the USA Today bestseller. No.
USA Today. USA Today.
Yeah, USA Today bestseller. So he became the USA Today national bestseller, something like this. Yeah, national bestseller. He even became a bestseller, although all the money goes into the foundation. But still, this was an amazing approach. And so he, for instance, is using LinkedIn and all his other platforms. He's not yet on Substack, but of course, we're going to cover as well Substack when we're going to go live. He's, for instance, also a fan of Reddit. So he's often using Reddit or Facebook to promote his book. But I just wanted to tell you, for instance, with him, it was amazing because he had the merch. And even if you're an indie author, now I'm seeing also lots of people offering merch, which people then can buy, So it's really on demand, so you don't have to send it to someone. But even if you are an indie author, sometimes, or let me go back, stop sharing. So this is the cap here. Oh, yeah. I had to take a shower because it's so hot here in Germany. So yeah, this is the cap, which I think is pretty cool. So there are lots of photos now with this cup, and also there was one who, together with AI, created a song about this. So this is okay, I'm not a singer, but it's stupider people have done it. Stupider people have done it, and stupider people have done it. And it's really earworm, and even my kids are now singing it. So again, like this is the power of AI, because this is cool. But I just wanted to tell you, you don't have to have your own agency. You can also be an indie publisher. And we have, for instance, this one here. Oh, am I gone? No, I'm still there,
No,
right?
you're still here. You're still here.
Good. Okay. Yeah, because I think it's so hot. This is why nothing is there anymore. And we have it. Where do we have it? Here. This one, for instance. This is called The Man Who Woke Up the Buddha. This one here. This is from David Bleestein. David Bleestein. And this is an episodic novel about the misadventures of a guy named Sid who wakes up from a stroke and realizes he's the Buddha, even though he knows next to nothing about Buddhism. So here you can dig a bit deeper into Buddhism. And we also, let's say, did a little campaign for this here. And he also had like this merch with the cap, which I loved. So I just want to tell you, even with a super, super small budget, you can do something as an indie. What do you think about like merch, Fleur? Are you a fan of
I
this?
love it. I love it. And it's a great way to encourage engagement with your books and your Substack. So if you've got something that's catchy and that people will want to wear or sip their coffee out of, I think absolutely, 100%. And maybe we'll do some Substack Bookstore merch and give every author a mug. I don't know. We'll look at that. But
you're right about this. Or when you're a finisher, you're getting something like a T-shirt or so.
Yes. Yeah,
you're right about this. During the bootcamp, it would be nice to also have already like the T-shirt. Yeah, this one I think I got through. Like, what is the number one in America? This was pretty good. Also for me in Europe. Oh, I have to look it up. But this one here, this was amazing because I just had to give it my email address, my, of course, post address and all this, and it worked pretty well. But then, for instance, this one here, which was sent through the author himself, this was really like a mess. I think it took 2 months or 3 months to send it. But this year, this just took like for people in Europe, whatever, like a week or two, which was cool. And in America, of course, it's within 2 or 3 days or so, you're gonna get it. So yeah, this is amazing. With the merch. For instance, my husband, he also has some merch in for his own courses. The only thing is, I'm not seeing myself now with the latest lives. I have to say, really, with Substack, it had lots of bugs that Substack should fix. First one was with the mics the last couple of times. Now the problem is I'm just seeing like a small window here with me and Fleur. So I'm a bit afraid what happens if I show my screen, because it just says reload site changes you made may not be saved. I don't know why it's there, but I don't know what's happening. But Fleur, you can share the screen, right?
Yes, but I'm embarrassed to share my screen because I have ADHD and I have so many tabs open.
Yeah, but we don't see your tabs. You would just have to select this one, substack.com/book. And then, so you just click on share. But before this, you would have had open substack.com/book.
Okay, all right.
First is open and one of your tabs. Then you click on share, and then you can select, it takes a while. Then you can select this specific website.
Yes, okay. Screen sharing is here. Okay, here we are. Yes, share. Okay,
Yeah.
is that showing up?
Yeah, it's showing up. Super. And now you can scroll down to how the Substack model works. After the 3 books,
Yes.
it's coming. Yeah, super.
So,
yeah. Yeah, because this is really like great like insight on how this whole thing works. First of all, Fleur and I, we have to say we don't have to sell anything with Substack. We're not affiliated, and it's really free, so we're not selling anything or so. And there's no referral program, so Substack is really the platform. Since you're already here, you're using this, but sometimes also there are just like readers joining who have not their own Substack newsletter yet. So it's free, 100% free. You can use it. The only thing you have to pay is what many call, like in a negative way, the Substack tax, which means you have to pay or to give the platform 10%. 10%. In addition, when we're talking about like the negative sides, maybe the moment a platform is free, you always say in marketing, you are the product, because the platform is free. The moment you have to pay, like the platform is the product, you know. However, I think Substack as a platform is a product because we have so many features, we can do so many things, and paying this 10% tax, I think, is good. It's not called a Substack tax. This is just something that in the media many people are referring to. It just means that you're gonna give them the 10% cut, like from this cake. And if you're gonna scroll down a bit further, Fleur, yeah, the best thing that Fleur already like touched on was that we have like this direct line to our readers, our potential readers, our readers. We can make them readers. We have recently I shared everything fine.
Yes.
Okay, good. We have, for instance, one example. Her name is, what's her? Anna Ventura, I think. And she, for instance, she started writing on Substack, serializing her novel. She then also got a book deal. Now she stopped writing because she is pregnant. But what I want to tell you is she managed to get these people who were just following and subscribing to actual readers who wanted to stick along and hear more about what she did in her when she was in her 20s, all the love affairs and stuff when she was traveling, all this. And then later it became a book, as an example. So this is really like the direct line they are talking about. And again, the subscription publishing is super easy. So there are lots and lots of authors who have already written their books or their books in mind. And then they're taking like the content of the book and putting this on Substack, sharing this with the world, maybe giving even some background information, sharing pictures of how this romance novel evolved. I'm always referring to the romance novelists here from Germany, which I so much love to see on Substack. And then, for instance, sharing like the places they are writing about in the novels. For instance, the lighthouse at the North Sea, or if they see whatever, like seagulls at the North Sea, whatever it is. It would be wonderful to have this visualized and sharing some pictures as an examples. And if you then go a bit deeper, Flora, we can see a statement from Luke. He says, I realized that the Substack transcends the book and that I had perennial evergreen things that I wanted to talk about. My readers helped me realize that. So there are lots and lots of examples here. It, of course, says also that you can start your Substack right from the start. I think we can stop the screen sharing now. But there
Yeah,
are,
sure.
again, lots and lots of examples on Substack of authors or people who never thought they would publish a book. We also had someone who was writing about running and then later got a book deal with a UK publisher. We had, for instance, also another professor, Jeremy Ney. Jeremy Ney is his name. He has a newsletter called American Inequality. He has now also written the manuscript, and he's going to be published, I think, in spring 2027. So there are lots of amazing examples, and these all somehow started as indie publishers because, for instance, Jeremy, he never thought that he would, with the topic of American inequality, would one time become an author. But it also happened through his Substack because at this point he had 10,000 subscribers. And the one that is about running, for instance, I think he only had, 2,000 or so, 2,000 subscribers or so. And he got this book deal just because he was so into running without being an actual without actually participating in any competitions. He's just like talking with marathoners, like marathon runners and stuff, but he's never ever doing a marathon or so. This is like the interesting part. He's more interested in the culture of running, which is cool. And since Substack is also about the culture of gardening or the culture of whatever, like dating or communicating or so, this is, of course, something that then the publishers loved a lot. What do you think about these examples, Fleur? Like, do
They're
you?
fantastic. Yes. Yeah. It's great. I'm obviously all for the indie publishers. That's kind of my focus with the Substack Bookstore. But if a traditional publishing deal comes about and a nice tidy advance for your book as a result of the work that you do on Substack, then what a great bonus and reward for all of your hard work. I'm not anti-traditional publishing. I just recognize that not everyone has the wherewithal to go through the years it can often take of querying to get a literary agent and then, querying or getting them to try and get you a book deal. So it's Substack works for both, and I think it's a platform for authors regardless of which way you publish. All I say is just beware of the scam vanity publishers who get you to pay to have your book published. It costs $0 to publish your book on Amazon. So just be aware there are some people out there who are using names that sound like Big Five publishers or sound like Amazon KDP, who are scamming authors. So I always encourage authors to be aware of those sort of operations and either choose a reputable hybrid publisher or self-publish yourself and subcontract out the editing and the marketing and helping you publish your book.
Yeah, and I think again coming back to the indie publishers, as you know, Fleur, we in Germany we have the Frankfurt Book Fair, like the leading book fair in the world, and then we also have in Germany the Leipziger Buchmesse, Leipzig Book Fair, where also lots of international authors are. But this is especially a book fair for indie publishers, and I participated at this event. I even was there with my kids, but it was too crowded. So compared to the Frankfurt Book Fair, it's really nothing for the kids. Maybe just for half an hour or so. Otherwise, it's too much. But the thing, and also with the cosplayers, and so it's not so easy when the kids are under 6. But the cool thing really was that I had the opportunity to talk with lots of indie publishers, and so just to give you some examples for indie publishers, also like in Germany, what I loved was, for instance, this one here from R.R. Stein. The name is Runes. This is like something that is seasonal because he's just talking about this on social media. He's on Facebook. He's talking about this just around Halloween. So it starts, you know what I mean, like September, so maybe a bit earlier, like August, September, October, and then also November, because people are still like a bit in their heads with Halloween. And he's, for instance, doing this in a pretty cool way. I'm gonna share more, I think, inside the club. Otherwise, it's gonna be too much for this session. And then he has like 2 books, and they are super heavy. And one of the books costs $35. $35. But if you're reading this, if you're seeing how he's doing this, and also with the runes, so you can then, when you open the book, you can see the runes. Then sometimes, if you have a flashlight, for instance, there are also like tattoos and stuff. So really, really cool things. And he's what did he tell me? I think he sold already more than 25,000 copies of the books. Yeah, 25,000 times here. What did I say? 35 euros is this? Yeah, but euros. This is of course pretty amazing, and just for the season. And he tries every year to publish another book. So he has the first one here, Ruined, the Mist Eye, and the other one is The Shadow of Halloween. So he has 2. And I also told him, what about the American? What about America? Because I think this looks also so American. This could be like from an American author or so. And he said, yeah, well, he's going to translate it, and so it's also going to be available then for the American readers, which I think is pretty cool. And there were lots of others which I loved a lot. For instance, so travel bloggers who started writing about their travels. No one would be caring, and then suddenly they had one post going viral, so you never know what's going to happen. And then they, for instance, also got offered some. Let's check where it is. I think this one here from Hamburg. I have lots of books here, but I can't show you this now. But then later they got asked about publishing a book with them, because they said, yeah, we saw you on social media and we would so much love to also offer you a book deal. So you never know. This is just what I want to say. And it sometimes even starts with publishing one indie book, another, let's say 5 indie books, and then later you get a publishing deal, Or, for instance, Karen Salmonson, you might know her with her mortality awareness movement. She, for instance, already published 50 books, and they are, I don't want to lie, but most of them are like self-published. All of them are self-published, or just with super small publishers also. And she can pay her bills with this, and she can live in New York in a skyscraper, for instance, So I think this is amazing, especially if you have a passion for a specific topic, and maybe your corporate job doesn't allow you to live this passion. What do you think about this, like with passion? And I think after this question, we have to stop. And maybe Fleur, because I can't see the comments anymore, maybe Fleur can go into the comments. Maybe there is something we have to address and talk about. And then maybe
Yes,
you can
I just
put the Substack
yeah.
authors one more time in the comments.
Yes, I'll put Substack for Authors Bootcamp in the comments. We had a question from someone about how can you know if you're being scammed, and I just put the name of a website called Writers Beware in there, because they list all the known scam publishers. So you can go into that site; it's free to use, and find out whether the publisher that's reached out to you. One of the key ways to know, and there's another scam where people are using famous authors' names to reach out to authors, but using like Stephen King at gmail.com,
Mm.
and obviously Stephen King wouldn't be writing to you using a Gmail address, or Penguin Random House at gmail.com and stuff like that. So look at the email address, as you should do with all emails that come through your inbox, and are promising you something that sounds pretty good, and maybe too good to be true. So yeah, Writers Beware is a great site to help people know about the scams that are going on for authors. And I'll put in the chat. So the Substack for Authors bootcamp is happening next week from the 4th to the 6th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, America. You can find the bootcamp at the website address I just typed in, Substack Author. We've got over 20 authors who are joining us so far, and more are
Almost
coming in
30
every
now.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it was 30. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we've had a few more. So if you use the celebration discount code, you'll get a special discount on the books, on the boot camp. Sorry. So we'd love to see members of the online writing club, the bookstore, other Substackers, anyone, who wants to learn about how to use Substack as an author. That's what we'll be covering. Everything you need to know, and that we've learned ourselves as writers and authors on Substack.
Yeah, you can save yourself a lot of time. So it took a lot of time from our lives, but not from yours. So you're gonna learn about all the mistakes we make, and of course, all about how to do this. And again, Fleur is someone who's an indie author. She's helping indie authors. I now have this book deal, so we are both bestsellers, and I belong like to the top international top 15. Fleur belongs, I think, in Australia to the top 20 or so, right? 25, which is of course cool. So it's not just like telling you something; it's more like showing you something. And in addition, Fleur and I, but I want it. This is getting too far, but there's definitely going to be one surprise where you're also going to meet some of the authors we already helped. Something like this is also going to come. In addition, because those of you who have been following me for a while know I love surprises and I also over deliver. And this is, for instance, also lots of people ask us about like the how much time we're gonna spend, and it's gonna be about 90 minutes, like masterclass. And after this, Fleur might go to bed because it's super late in Australia, and or I'm gonna do then a Q&A. And the Q&A, if you are, for instance, from Germany, I can also do answer some questions in German if you are not feeling good about talking in English, because here in Germany, English of course is important, but you know what I mean, like business English. I totally get you when you're gonna say I can't talk about my book in English or so. But you can also go into Claude, for instance, and just like put the question in Claude, and then we can also talk in English about it as an example. So it's gonna be like 120 minutes, which is of course a lot for 3 days. And if you can't attend, which also some really told me, what you can do is you can watch the recording. Of course, it's not the same, but we're gonna open, and maybe already today, Fleur, which you don't know yet, we're gonna open like the community, and the community this time is gonna be something that my husband created for us. So it's really my community, and in the community, we're gonna feature you with a photo, with your Substack, with your LinkedIn, in addition with your book. And Fleur and I, we're also going to feature you somehow in our newsletter. So I will definitely feature every one of you, all the authors. And I love success stories. So I'm also going to share, of course, success from you, which I can promise you. And with Fleur, it's the same with the listings and talking about you, because there's nothing better than talking about other indies. I now have to go into my weekly Substack live. I thank you all so much, especially Fleur. And hopefully, if I
Thanks,
now
Christina.
hit on leave, it's gonna
Yeah,
be
I'm just going to
working.
say there's over $100 worth of bonuses that authors get as well. So some
Plus
great
the
tools
promo,
for
plus the
people.
promo. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Excellent.
this is important
Thanks,
with the
everyone.
bonuses. You
Thanks,
have to check the
Christina.
bonuses. It's really like 6 bonuses there. And Fleur is going to share the recordings. So if you're going to say I jumped in like late, Fleur is going to share the recording now. I'm going to share the recording later then.
Yes. Okay.
See you
Good
guys.
night, everyone. See
Thank
you.
you so much, Fleur.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
He got a long Fleur, are we gone or are we still live?
I think.
I think you can hear me, but you can't see me, right? I guess this has to do because I just jumped off the Substack live and now it has already like Sandy saying yes. Let me see with the camera. Oh, there, where's it on? Sure. Where can I see this now? Hope everyone is doing well. All fine, all good. So far, you can just hear my voice. Or let me ask my chief technical officer, who's also in the house today. I can't see anything anymore. Oh, everything is gone. I don't know. With Fleur already it didn't work, so you could see myself, but I couldn't do anything in the live session. And now it says oh no, this will officially end the live video for you and all viewers.